Yesterday, our reign as manager of Leeds United came to an end after 6 glorious seasons. Today, we're going to show you what happens 5 years into the future. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Frankly FM84. Thank you for coming back and joining me on the final episode of Leeds United, Pride of Yorkshire. So as I was saying yesterday, we went through the final season review for season 6, showed you what had happened in that season, showed you through all of the trophies and all the awards that we have won. And today we are back for a special episode as we have moved 5 years into the future. It is now 2032. It's the 1st of June, so another Premier League season has just come to an end. We're going to have a look at how Leeds United are getting on, look at what happened to the players that we had signed, whether some are still at the club, some have moved on. We're also going to look at how Leeds United have been faring since we have been away, trying to see how they perform in the Premier League, how they performed in the Champions League, and also how the club is doing both in terms of structural and reputation wise, and just trying to get a general feel of what life is like at Leeds United in 2032. So the first place we are starting is here on the home screen. You can have a look around and see that basically the biggest news is that Hull have been promoted to the Premier League 2 days ago. Barcelona have won a famous treble. Cambridge United are now in Sky Bet League 1. There's a few other ones on there, but we are here to have a look at Leeds United. So let's do that. If we go up here, we're going to just hit Leeds, and we can see they finished third in the Premier League in the current season that they are on, which would be 31-32. We can see that the manager is now Niko Kovac. His preferred formation is a 4-4-2. The club's key players are Ibu Kanate, who we signed. Simon Thorpe is the vice-captain, who we also signed. Santiago Garcia is a key player, another one of our signings. And their top prospect is Eduardo Alvarez. They have dropped off a little bit in terms of reputation. They are a worldwide club with a 4.5-star reputation now. And you can see by looking at the league history, we went all the way up to the top. We then dropped off to 4th, won the league, and unfortunately Leeds have been steadily coming all the way down. In fact, it says at the top, 3rd in the Premier Division, so I presume that something is different. In fact, they finished 13th the season before this, so a bit disappointing. They seem to have bounced back to be able to finish in 3rd place in the 31-32 season, but 13th in the 20-30-31 season. Bit dodgy there. Looking at the club, they have 4.5-star training facilities, 5-star youth facilities, 3-star junior coaching, and 3.5-star youth recruitment. They were media predicted to finish in 7th place. So let's look at the players in the senior squad, see who is there, who is not. Freddie Woodman is still at the club. Let's see if he has been playing any more games. In the entire time that we signed him in the first season, he's been there the whole time, and he has made a total of 2, 5, 6, 7, 10 Premier League appearances. He's just been sat there picking up his cash, not really too bothered about playing games. In the one game he did play, it was in the Papa John's Trophy, so I'm presuming he was demoted to the under-23s, and he had a 5.8 rating in that game, so not very good. In terms of other goalkeepers, Melier is missing. They have two young Brazilians who are valued at 28 to 84 million and 12.5 to 38 million. They're Pedro Mendonça, who is a 26-year-old right back. He's a regen as well. Is there many normal players left? So Wilfred Singo is still at the club, 31 years old now. Let's have a look. Who else? Ibrahim Kanate is there. Christopher Aja? Christopher Aja, I think it is. He is at Leeds, 34 years old now. Nicola Benevento. He's a regen. They have got Tahir Gums, who was a regen early on, and we bought him through. His contract is about to expire. He obviously hasn't amounted to much, but he's part of the first team setup, so He's there. They've got Santiago Garcia. Let's see how he has developed. So yeah, he's pretty much elite. Look at all those greens on the physicals: acceleration, agility, balance, pace, strength, decisions, positioning, tackling. What a player he has become. Let's see what his career stats look like. So pretty much first team out every single season. Across his career, he's had 261 appearances with 5 goals, a 7.04 average rating. Quickly running through some other players. Burak Ince is still at the club. He again has developed into a bit of a monster, hasn't he? Composure, decisions, flair, vision, technique, passing. Let's see how his history has gone. So, why are the players playing in the Papa John's Trophy? Bit strange, but in terms of his career, you can see he's not been an ever present in the team like he was for us. He was quite influential towards the end, playing 15 and 18 games the last 2 seasons, 6.65 and 6.98 average ratings. Yeah, a player is worth £13.5 million now. Is that reflective of the fact his contract is running down? No, not even that. So, it's reflective of the fact that he's been made with the under 23s. He's been transfer listed as the club no longer request his services. So he has obviously had a falling out with the manager at some point and has found himself falling down the list. We have a 35-year-old Luis Diaz in the team. New Liverpool player, has turned up at Leeds United towards the end of his career. When did they sign him? So signed him in 28-29. So 2 moves in 2 seasons. He went to, well, actually, look at this in terms of a game path plan. Newcastle for 41 million, Milan for 41 million, Leeds for 24.5 million, sorry, so far. And yeah, he's been playing really good football for Leeds. Thiago Thomas is still at the club. He has developed not as great as I thought he would be. He's a wonder kid, and he started out as a wonder kid. Looking at the teams that are mainly interested in him, you've got Liverpool, Monaco, PSG, Barcelona, all looking at the player. He was always solid. Player that we got on transfer deadline day in a bit of a bargain move. Karim Adeyemi is still at the club. Let's see what he looks like now. He's dribbling, finishing, first touch, acceleration, pace. So he's the player that we thought he was going to be. Hasn't really broke into the German national team though. And in fairness, he wasn't really an ever-present in our team. But as soon as the new people have come in, so he played 31 games there, scored 12 goals. Played 35 games, 7, 33 and 11, 33 and 13 there. So he's developed after we left the club. And then the last 2 to have a look at, Matthias Scally is still there. And wow, what a regen this kid has turned into. So how much did we initially lay out for him? We paid £12.5 million from River Plate. And he has turned into a bit of a beast of a regen. Dribbling, finishing, first touch, anticipation, composure, teamwork, agility, balance. Yeah, what a player he has become across the save. And the last one is 32 years old now. Dusan Blair is on £165,000 a week. And he is what he is, isn't he? He's an elite striker who should be banging goals left, right and centre. Let's have a look. But he hasn't actually done it. So the season that we left, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, at the end of this season here, he'd scored 29 goals in 28 games, and then it really drops off. 18 in 30, 7 in 19, 6 in 24, 5 in 29, and 8 in 26. So I'm not too sure what the managers who've been at the club have been doing, but certainly not using him to the best of his abilities. His average ratings, though, are fantastic in terms of every competition he plays in. Let's have a look at the transfer histories then, just to see what happened since we moved on. So the following season, after we resigned, they bought Omar Richards. Obviously didn't hang around long because he's no longer at the club. He's at Sassuolo. They bought Luis Romo from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Another one didn't hang around long because he's at Cruz Azul. I don't understand the club. They wanted players under the age of 23 for the first team when we were there, but they signed a player who is obviously getting on quite a bit in terms of Luis Romo. They then signed some Barcelona B players, Arthur Francis. He is now at, what club is that? Extremadura. They signed Adria Delgado for 1.1 million. Regen, who is at Napoli now. So nice to see that the turnover of players is going strong. Another Barcelona B product in Jaime, Jacobo and Miguel. Another Real Madrid, B team player. I don't know what the thinking was in that one. Axel Mendoza on a free transfer. He looks solid enough. He's still at the club as well. Playing not too many games, not really a first team regular. They signed Michael Gothway. Not too sure how you say that, but he's no longer at the club either. He's with Victoria. So he's at Eibar, actually. Contracted to Eibar and out on loan. Players that they sold then. Tommy Madsen, who couldn't get a work permit for us. They let him go out on loan. Neko Williams went out on loan. Moritz Kiergaard, he was a player who signed early on in the save. Didn't really develop for us. Let's see what he looks like here. So, yeah, he's pretty much the player that we had. He's actually at Manchester United in this game. The main interest in the player is from Real Madrid. So we were on the right track. We just couldn't get him into the team. Couldn't get him firing at all, really. They let Mengi go on loan to Wolves. Pablo Tor went on loan to Sampdoria. Sebastian Soto went on loan to Luton. Tommy Doyle left to go to Stuttgart for 10.75 million. Louis Barry went out on loan. Thiago Moraes went out on loan. Zach Hibbs. Klaus Ferber. What happened to Klaus Ferber? So he ended up leaving the club. He has gone to Wolfsburg. How much did they move him on for? £5 million. What a bargain Wolfsburg have got themselves there, because look at some of these stats. So Bundesliga, 27 games, 3 goals, 8 games, 4 goals in the Euro Cup 2, which I think is the conference. I think he's an absolute sound player for what he is, midfielder. Leeds obviously didn't fancy him after we had left. And then the bottom one right there, Junior Firpo went out to West Ham for 15 million. Moving on to the next season. So they bought in Nicholas Taliafico. Going to go with that as a pronunciation. Victor Malajo. Luis Diaz came in from Milan for 24.5 million. Zied Romdane. Regen from Tunisia, who he's okay. His passing is good. His vision is good. His balance is good. The rest of it is pretty average. He's 24 years old. Hull are now interested in him. He's in the under-23s as well, so I don't know whether that's an indicator that he's fallen out with the manager. And then they brought in Luis Carlos. Decent enough regen there. And then they sold Louis Barry to Lazio. Let's have a look at Louis Barry now. Unfortunately, we updated the face pack after the transfers. Louis, what are you doing in this picture, lad? Come on. Like, yeah, don't know about that. But still, as a player, he still looks pretty good. I would still sign him if I was in charge of Leeds. I'd try and get him back, I'd be honest. He's actually at Udinese, so he's bouncing around in Italy. Valencia, Torino, Malaga. Quite a few players in clubs interested in the player. Looking at his stats, 12 goals and 34 for Udinese. Never really got into our team. I'd like to have him still, though, as a rotation option, I would be honest. They let Rafinha go. Well, Pablo Tor went first to Sampdoria. He was on loan there, so I'm presuming these were loans with fees. Rafinha went to Monaco. Ruben Pulido went to Betis. Wisdom May was allowed to leave to Wolves for 18.75 million. Then the players they were signing from Real Madrid and Barcelona's B teams have ended up leaving. Arthur Francis went out on loan. Ryan Gravenberch was allowed to go to Chelsea for 57 million. He's now in France at Montpellier. Who else? Conrad de la Fuente was allowed to leave to go to Porto. He's still there. Who else? Chris Doherty went to Burnley under 18, so it must be a regen. Barneswell went on loan to Ipswich. Harvey Elliott got sold to Atletico Madrid for £8.5 million. He's still there. He looks like he's having a wonderful season, or had a wonderful season in his current one. 37 games, 10 goals. Look at those stats since he went there. Maybe he was criminally underused by myself. There was a point where he was asking to leave. couldn't really get him into the team as much as I would have liked. But still, probably one that got away. Then Soto went on loan, Hoyland went on loan, Ted and Mengi went to Porto for £12 million. Now that is a great deal for Leeds because we picked him up for nothing. The Barcelona kids are still going out. Thiago Morris went out for 3.8 million. Olav Vaham is a player we couldn't get a work permit, but we signed him anyway. So how much did we pay for Olav Vaham? Paid 3 million. They got 6 million. So it's one of those where we signed another young kid. They moved him on for a profit. And then there are players down here. Benjamin Russell, who was a youngster regen that we signed, I think from Birmingham, moved to West Brom. Rob Mitchell, Zach Hibbs, Mendoza, and then Neco Williams out on loan again. In 29-30, I signed Christopher Aya, Federico Pavon, Rodolub Matijasevic. Gonna go with that. Tony from Seville C team. Thibaut Persian. Are these all regens? No, he's at Real Madrid. He's 30 years old. That is a bit surprising. He's a right winger, extremely fast, got acceleration. So strange that some of the decisions that the game make are quite strange. We would sign a player, try and get him in for a long time. These seem to just get them in for a season and then move them on. And then Matthias Enrique, who's a regen, came from Southampton. Players going out then. So Rasmus Højlund was allowed to leave for nothing. Angelo moved to Bournemouth for 21 million. Michael Elliott. Barneswell went out on loan again. Diego Carpio. Let's see. Is he still at the club? He's at Seville now. Didn't really turn into the player that we thought he would. He was one of the ones, I think, who appeared on the Next Gen 50 list. We bought him to develop and didn't really turn out the best. Endrio was another one off of those lists. £21 million. Look at what he turns into. I don't know how it didn't really work out for him at Leeds United, I suppose. Oh, he's at Tottenham now. Let's see, so Tottenham stole him for a free transfer. What a free transfer Tottenham have got. Again, another one we couldn't really get into the team, but at the age of 24, he would have only been 19 still at the time, had a lot of development to go. Neco Williams ended up going out to Atletico Pamplona. Maccabi Haifa loaned Soto, Romo, Joyce, Homie. Bonham Wilson went to Derby for 1.1 million. He's one of the players that we developed at club, and we got him some game time, but he obviously was ever going to turn into a top regen. We got Marvin Stannard went out, Luis Carlos, and then Federico Pavon. And we're into the stage now where they're buying players and selling them all pretty much around the same time. Although there are players on that side of the screen or that side of the screen that interest me. In fact, you can't see them because I'm in the way, aren't I? So you're going to have to take my word for some of these. So they brought in the players you can see in terms of regens on that side. But the players and the names that were going out. So James Maddison left the club on a free transfer to go to Seville. Igor Zubaldia left to go on a free transfer to Sporting. Charles de Catelaire was allowed to go on loan to Juventus, and he's still there. Got a special place for de Catelaire. He was one of the players that I picked up, and I thought, yeah, I would sign him on any save that I can because I think he's a little bit special. Michael Barneswell was allowed to go to Watford for 2.7 million. Tommy Madsen, who we couldn't get the work permit for, went to Napoli for 11 million. Klaus Ferber went to Wolfsburg for 5 million. Sebastian Soto was out on loan again. Facundo Fabri, who was a wonder kid off of the Next Gen list as well, he was allowed to go to Boca Juniors, having come from Boca Juniors. Couldn't really get in our Leeds team. There was just better players ahead of him at the time. Ends up going back to Boca Juniors. And then for the current season that's just finished, they signed Marcio from Santos, Pedro Mendonca from Cole, and the players that were going out were de Catelaire left for £44 million to go to Juventus. Bentancur ended up going to Al Jazeera for a free transfer. Sebastian Soto left to go to LA Galaxy on a free. Ismael Sorrentes, who was another regen that we signed, is at Besiktas. Let's have a look at Diego Carpio, ended up going to Seville. I think we've already covered him. Tim Long. Diogo Late, I don't know who that is. Let's have a look. So he is an actual player. They signed him from Napoli. No, Real Madrid signed him from Napoli for 33 million. Leeds picked him up on a free and they sold him for 15.75 million. So good bit of business there for Leeds. Omar Richards, Peter Gill, Dale Timon, Ilan Melier has just gone to Newcastle on the 27th of January. So in that window there for £8.5 million. He is their number one goalkeeper there. 32 years old now. Not too sure if that's a great decision for his career. And then Thibaut Persin, who's the player that we hadn't heard of earlier, is now at Real Madrid. So those are the transfers that are in and out in terms of Leeds. What else can we actually look at? So, history, competitions. Can we look just at the Premier League? Okay, so since we left and we won the league here, we finished on 94 points. The next season, Leeds finished second. They got 77 points. They then finished in fourth. They finished in sixth. They then dropped to 13th before rising. Look at that goal difference, -1. I do not know what had happened there. That is a little bit shocking that they finished that low that quickly. They then bounced back and finished third in the season that has just finished. Yeah, I was going to say Sky Bet Championship. That shouldn't be there, but it's obviously historical. Club World Championship. They played in 2029. Lost to Milan in the quarter-final. So does that mean that they won the Champions League again? So after we won it here against Inter in extra time, they lost to Manchester United in the semi-final on aggregate. They lost to Bayern in a quarter-final on aggregate, and they lost to PSG in the semi-final. So even though the Premier League dropped off, the Champions League came back whilst it was there. The Premier League, obviously, then they stopped qualifying for the Champions League, so they were in the... No, that was the one. Was that the one that we... Oh, no, yeah. 2027, they won the Super Cup because we had qualified through winning the Champions League, Euro Cup, which is the Europa League. They lost in the quarterfinals to Arsenal in 30-31. FA Cup, did they go on and win it? Lost. So semi-final was the closest they got in 28-29, 31-32. Carabao Cup, so we lifted it there. We then lost to Liverpool in the quarter-final. In fact, no, this was the season, wasn't it? So lifted the Carabao Cup after beating Liverpool on penalties. So after the season after we got knocked out in the semi-finals, they won it. They then lost in the quarter-finals, the fourth round, and they lifted it in the 31-32 season. Any more competitions? Community Shield, Papa John's Trophy. So what were they doing in the Papa John's? Lifted the Papa John's Trophy after beating Bristol City. Surely that's the under-23s, isn't it? That cannot be the first team. I would not have thought. Oh well. Anyway, landmarks. Here we go then. So, after we came in, we left here. So they were runners-up in the Charity Shield. Calvin Phillips was removed as captain. Ibu Kanate appointed. Calvin Phillips then was vice captain. Actually, what happened to Calvin Phillips? So Calvin Phillips retired as a player at 35. Club icon, one-man band in terms of playing for just the one club. 479 appearances for the club. 37 goals coming. He won 12 accolades with the team. 6 runners-up, 1 third place. And in terms of personals, he only finished third once. In terms of personal accolades, third place in the European Champions Cup midfielder of the season to his name. So Calvin Phillips got out at the age of 35. European Super Cup winners in 27. Youth facilities and training facilities upgraded. Stadium was increased to 49,000. They then won the Carabao Cup. Chairperson Bernard Caezo leaves. New chairperson Tom Holgate took over and floated on the stock exchange. Then upgraded the youth facilities. Simon Thorpe took over as vice captain. They then won the Carabao Cup. Managers. So then, oh, look at this. Perfect Football Manager, this. So we were in charge for quite a while. 5 years, 329 days in total. We then resigned. We had 2 league wins, 6 cup wins. Thomas Tuchel then came in, took the job after we left. He took the job for 2 years, 189 days before he left the role. He had 2 cup wins with no league wins. Adam Underwood. Who is Adam Underwood? So Adam Underwood is a 56-year-old who is head of youth development and is currently unemployed. Yeah, literally has only managed Leeds, so questionable decision as to why they took Adam Underwood on, but that's what this game does. Jurgen Klopp then was in charge for 285 days before he was sacked from the role. They then took Adam Underwood on again, so I presume that the fact he was there for 150 days and 28 days. There we go. So left caretaker position, if I'd have looked across the columns, I'd have seen that. Left his interim manager role. And then Niko Kovac has been in charge for 365 days exactly, having won the Carabao Cup. So if we go back through this, actually, Bielsa, we took over from. So we had overall manager comparison. So we had 215 games won, 55 drawn, 61 lost, which was a 64% win rate. Thomas Tuchel had 93 wins, 22 drawn, 36 lost, 61%. Adam Underwood, we won't count. Jurgen Klopp only won 40% of the games, 16 won, 13 drawn, 11 lost. Niko Kovac is actually running at a better rate than what we are. 66% of wins, 33 games, 7 drawn, 10 lost. But obviously, that is a much shorter time span. Records for the club. So modern day, highest league position first. Only says 68, 69. I'd have thought it would have counted the most recent. Points in the season, 94 in our last season in charge. Fewest points was 18. Most league wins in the season, 29 in 26-27. Anything else more recently? So, looking at the players, most league goals by a player is still Peter Lorimer, but most overall goals by a player in a season is 44 with Dusan Blair. Most league appearances was Jack Charlton with 629, so Calvin Phillips couldn't even get close to that. So what a career Jack Charlton obviously had. Highest average rating is 7.80 from 44 appearances for Ibrahim Kanate. Youngest player still is Peter Lorimer at 15 years and 322 days. Oldest player still stands. Fastest goal is 10 seconds, Benjamin Šeško versus Brentford in the Premier League. Most goals in a game is a historical. Most assists by a player in the season was Rafinha with 19. Most clean sheets by a player in the season, 34 for Melier, 25-26. Most player in the match awards was Dusan Blair in that fantastic season. Youngest goal scorer remains James Milner, and oldest goal scorer also remains Peter Lorimer. So sequences, most matches won in a row, and that wasn't achieved by us. 7th of January 2032 to the 6th of March 2032. So that is one that we have had taken off of us. Most matches without losing is 45, 2026 to 2027, and then the others are historical. The biggest win remains 10-0 against Lynn in the Champions Cup. Biggest defeat also wasn't us. High scoring match was the 6-5 game in the Europa League final in 2023. That was us. Highest scoring league match was the 6-2 game versus Brentford in the Premier League in 2022. Highest transfer fee paid is Burak Insay for 65 million. Highest transfer fee received total 135 million for Benjamin Šeško. Just a quick brief run over their league positions. You can have a look at those there. Did they finish 13th in the Premier League or not? Maybe that graph was wrong. Okay, so yeah, it's basically saying that the highest they were, that's a little bit skewed, isn't it? Results, biggest win, sequences, players, and transfers. So that is pretty much all of that covered. Is there anything else we need to go over? We can't really see too much in the finances. That was one thing that we probably do regret, the fact that we didn't leave the finances looking the best. They have a bank balance of minus £10 million, but I believe that figure there says £1,144,995,057. So the club is worth a pretty penny. They are not short of cash at all. And that, I think, wraps up pretty much everything we need to look at. That is Leeds United 5 years into the future. We've seen how they got in the league, what they've won, the players, the ins and outs, and how the club has finished up. So if you've enjoyed this series, please go and check the other two that are running. We have Bello Calcio out in Japan, managing in the J League. That's a fantastic series. We are also attempting to build a nation with Cape Verde, so go and check that one out too. But before you go anywhere, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel out. Every interaction helps the channel so much. But for this one and this series, a big thank you for watching, and I'll catch you soon.